You know, I looked over all the components. I didn't really look over the player's aid here. I mean, I was showing it, right? There's two of these, of course. This side gives you the commands. That very, very helpful. Force is very helpful. Battle and Storm. Summary of stuff. I tend to look in the rules for it. And similarly with the sequence of play, it's such a complex and large sequence of play that I flipped through the rules for that. I also left this thing out. It gives you information about who's where and what. And then how to deal with the Taifa stuff, which again, I tend to look in the rules. I don't know. Player aids are a great thing, but if you give me too much player aid, I seem to have trouble with it. So, I'm following along in here for the Levy phase, but let's see how this works. Okay, this is scenario F. Arts of War, Christian and then Muslim shuffle. I did that. Implement 2 cards on first Levy capabilities. Okay, so the Christians are going to draw 2 of these Arts of War cards. And I guess I can look at both of them before I assign either. And the first one I get is Javelinas. Javelins, up to 4 of this lord's unarmored units have missiles on 1 battle round. Okay. And I have not given Ordonez his troops for some reason. So I look, man-at-arms is gray, serfs, light horse is brown, sergeants is gray, and a knight. All right, well, let's look at this other one. Fideros, Royal Codes of Law. Each levy remove up to 2 jihads from a Reconquista Taifa locale to which Alfonso is closer than any Muslim. This doesn't say this lord, so this gets tucked here. It's not really useful to me. I don't have a Reconquista yet, but if I do as well as last game, I'll have it there. I can discard this and may have to. The javelins, after 4 of this lord's unarmored units. This includes his subunits, his vassals. So this actually works for almost everyone. Unarmored units. Wait, unarmored units. No. That's not very good for most people. So on here I'm having trouble. So here I had trouble between the knights and the men-at-arms. But here I have trouble between the militia and the men-at-arms. And those are both gray rather than brown. This looks brown. Yeah. And so the unarmored are the serfs and the the militia. It's up to 4. This is a man-at-arms. So it looks to me like the best I have is 2 in any given place. These aren't going to be terribly useful in siege. I don't really want to give it to Alfonso. He's too good. I'm going to give this to Pedro here. And I got to switch batteries, or I have to switch the camera off. Ooh, no, I can cheat. This table has these weird little creases that, I don't know, somehow interfere with stuff. And now we go over to the Muslims and we do the same thing. I don't have a lot of choice here. Ribald monks. No, Ribat monks. Christians ravage in this lord's Taifa have a difficulty in doing so. That's going to be on a lord. And elite guard, this lord with horse, command +1. That's very nice. So some of the wordings feel a little kind of like what the fuck, this lord with horse, and what are these pictures? Yeah, well, this guy has horses. His command rating gets raised by 1, and that's all they're saying. And I have to put these on these lords. I have no option. This is to this lords. It has to be allocated. Now, on later turns, these are going to be events, but on this turn, this is what happens. We go down, and we can follow other things, but I like the rules better. They give me more information than the player aid really can afford to. All right, now, first we go to the Christians. I could spend coins to up these values. I don't see a reason to do that right now. There might be other reasons, other uses for coins, so I'm not going to pay, and I don't have loot. Usually when you have loot and you can spend it, do so. It's like you really want to cash that loot in, but coin is so versatile in terms that you can carry it because it fits in your pocket. We go over to the Muslims, and they have no coins available in this scenario, so we skip this. Disband. Nobody's passed their period, so nobody disbands. So we get to muster, and the Christians have to do it first. All right, time to think. What am I planning on doing? Well, Alvar is sitting here. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do with him. He's not allowed to muster, so we'll ignore him for that. But he's got a siege going on where he's got like 4 guys. The city has a huge garrison of 3 men-at-arms and 3 militia, all armed with bows. I am not going to be able to take this city except through surrender. And I'm only allowed a number... What am I only allowed? I'm only allowed something. We're looking for siege works. I have to have at least as many lords as the siege capacity. So I have to have 3 lords here to be able to add any more siege results there. There's not a hell of a lot I can do there. I also can't even forage because I am in a ravaged town. Which I think prevents forage from being done. I screwed this up when I was playing before. Look at campaign. We look for cards. We look for actions. That was March. It's under other actions or something like that. Other commands. So forage. The locale cannot be ravaged. Exception gardens. Gardens, a lord in a friendly city or fortress may forage and add 1 provender, even if the locale is ravaged or he is besieged. Actually, I think the gardens are outside as well, so I am allowed to forage. Forge in a friendly stronghold adds automatically, otherwise I need a 1 to 3. So I will be able to gather food where I am. Gardens are both inside and outside the city, I guess. So at least there's that. But what I'm kind of looking towards is moving my marshal and his forces down to finish the siege, to accomplish the siege of Toledo. What does that mean? Well, I got to figure out what I'd want to levy. So Pedro has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He eats 1. Garcia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He eats 1. If I levy these troops, I'm going to need more provender than I would otherwise. So at size 6, it's kind of pleasing if I'm not facing any Muslims. However, I have a long, hard walk coming down there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 would get me to here. Or I could go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm probably going to be laden. Well, I'm probably going to have to use my carts. So this was to here or to here. I could get more supplies here. And then push down. I would have to take a city to get to Toledo, though. I think I really cheated last time I played. So, I'm just trying to figure out how much I need. Now, if I can capture a location, then next turn I might be able to complete the Siege of Toledo, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it on this first turn. Which means, and I mean, Toledo actually fell where? On the second turn, yeah. Okay. Oh, boy. What do I do? What do I do? Oh, this is a pariahs. I don't have to conquer things. I can just walk through. Gosh. So the debate is how much, these guys can each muster a troop, one of their subunits, and they could muster an additional transport wagon. That doesn't sound that bad. He doesn't get to muster. He gets 3 musters. Now 3 musters, what I did in my game was I mustered Alfonso up here. Wait, Alfonso, no. Sancho. There is only one dude that I can muster. So I'm going to use one of Alfonso's lordship markers, and I can use these to indicate, because you don't have to muster everything on one. So I'm going to roll his fealty of 3. I succeed. That means I add Sancho. Let's move my T. Don't know where I'm going to put it later. It gets in the way of the stuff. Sancho is going to show up at his place, and he gets a man-at-arms, a knight, and a serf. I'm going to put a little 1 here. I don't know which to do. I'll put a little 1 here to indicate that I've spent 1. Okay. And Sancho also gets a mule, a provender, a coin, and 2 Sancho markers. Let's look at these. This is just a man-at-arms. It's a man-at-arms and a knight. And this shows up 1, 2, 3 away to give me another lord. Okay. So that spent those. Now, one thing that I found when I first played on the first turn, this is kind of what I was doing. But now I want to look at the arts of war and see if I want to muster any of these capabilities. I got lucky with Sancho. He only cost me 1 to get. It gives me some functionality up there. But capabilities are an interesting option. Okay. I looked through the pile of cards. The most important one is the battering ram, and I have that guaranteed by the scenario. So that's kind of nice. Sancho might want something. He can do some interesting stuff. But as of right now, what I think I want to do is muster some of these forces. And I have lordships of 2 on each. What I think I'm going to do is muster 1 good lord on each one and an additional transport capability. I only have to cross 1 path, which will cost 2 movement to do. And mules are a pain in the ass. I really don't like mules. They're stubborn. Okay. So let's take a look at what I do with one of these. Let's take Alfonso's. He'll spend his second muster on getting this guy. And that's going to get me a knight, a sergeant, and a man-at-arms. Now, if I was playing the base game, I would put them on this up there. I don't know if it really matters that they're on it or not. They say to do that. And then this goes 2 ahead. And that'll bring that to 2. And then for the third one, I'm going to flip this cart over. And I don't have a 0 or anything. I'll remember that I've got Alfonso. I'll do the same with Pedro and Garcia. I don't get to muster with Alvar. Sancho on his own can't do a whole hell of a lot. I could go raiding. That might be of some value. But I'm looking at I can take this Barbastro here. I can actually take that because that's only a 1-level thing. It only takes 1 lord to be able to keep putting siege markers up. Doesn't seem like a bad idea. Do I need a whole lot of troops? I don't know. I think so. Oh, let me get some markers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll put a feed times 2 on him. Alvarez, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, he's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets a 2. This will be 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets a 2. This is why mules suck. Is you gotta feed them. Sancho, and I've spent all the points on all of these. Sancho's the only one left. I'll do the same damn thing with him. I don't like a 1 point time period, but I also need him to have some troops in case he gets into trouble. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to spend and grab a mule. I'm not taking any advantages. There isn't another one of these in the deck, so that's fine. Now we go over to the Muslims, and we're going to do the same kind of thing. There are a lot of Muslim lords. My strategy last time did not work, which was I summoned this guy and 2 up here to try to deal with Sancho. Well, what they ended up doing was Sancho stayed where he was and they ended up besieging him, and that didn't work very well. And with a lord there, it's not going to just surrender. So that's not very helpful. So I'm going to try to be more clever, but I don't know exactly how. Let's think about Rodrigo. He'd be a call to arms, I'd have to pay 3 coins from the typhus box or unbesieged Muslim lords. I don't have that kind of money. I might after I muster people. He would be of value to me, a lot of value. The biggest reason, is all of my lords, except Mundir, well, I don't know, a lot of my lords have 2-point command ratings. Now, that's really shitty. That means when their card comes up, they only get 2 points of action, which is like enough to grab some food and move a space and then you eat the food. Well, obviously you can stagger things a little differently, but it doesn't allow for a lot of movement. What might be the best option is take away some of these pariahs points and start generating taxes to put in the typhus box. Because I had a lot of trouble coping with what I could do within a situation. Now, as long as these are in pariahs, they're neutral. So Sancho's not really a threat up there. So screw him, man. He can sit there as far as I'm concerned. Now, he can generate coins too, for what it's worth. But if he's having to pay himself to keep this thing alive, that becomes a little bit more questionable. So I think I'm going to say screw that. And I'm going to look towards getting some of the better people that I can. Well, Abd Allah is a useful commander with a high service rate. Well, they all have the same service rating. Damn mercenary. He doesn't have a lot of lordship, which means he's not going to be able to muster much, no matter what I do. In fact, all of these have a 1 lordship, which is crappy. So I'm going to go for that first. I'm going to spend 1 of his 2 lordship to try to get a 1 through 3. Now, these guys have 1 through 4s, which makes them a little bit easier, but they're the guys over here. That would kind of make Sancho have something he could do, and I'd rather not give him anything to do. So we'll go for Abd Allah. I get a 5. That's a failure. I'm going to go for him again. That's my 2nd lordship point. Oh, look, I might be failing to do anything. I fail again. So, that means I spent all my mustering on getting nothing. Shitty town. All right. That flings us over to the call to arms. There's no opportunity to reconcile with Al Cid. I don't have the money to hire him, and none of the other options are available right now. And that means we go to the campaign phase. And so, not a hell of a lot happened. A lot more happened last time I played because I had this guy succeeded in generating like 2 things. One of them succeeded in generating another. You know, lords were being called up all over the place. But it's not like it worked terribly well for me. This is obviously not good, though. I would have rather gotten some lords on play. I didn't manage to move the victory points in my favor, which is something I'd really like to do, because right now the Christians have the edge. So moving into that first campaign, let's see, we did all this. Flip Levy to campaign. Discard capabilities in excess of lords. Well, there's 1 total. So we're fine there. So now we're at the planning stage. And this is technically, I believe, done Christians then Muslims, but There's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't do this simultaneously. So let's look at the Christians and think about what we're going to do with them. Obviously, solo, I am not going to do it simultaneously because I am not a quantum Enrico. Okay, so let's think about what we want to do and figure it out. First question is, what can Sancho do? Sancho has no capabilities. There were reasons to take one. He could conceivably siege Barbaredo there. However, it's neutral, so he can't. Creating him was kind of a dumb idea, and I may regret that. So let's turn our attention over to Alvar and Alfonso's group. Alvar has just one provender. Now, he only eats one, so that's kind of okay, as long as he doesn't do much. But he has a bunch of cards. Yep, wrong deck. It's okay that I looked at it. I have to reshuffle at the beginning of every Levy phase. So Alvar has 3 cards in his deck, or in the deck, all with 4 commands. I could do a lot of stuff with them. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I really can do. Now I can do a lot, but I can't. Because it's ravaged, which means that forage is not allowed. Unravaged or any friendly fortress city, yeah. So, well, maybe it is. Wait, there's gardens there. So let's take a look and see. I'd be getting it on a 1 to 3. Forage, 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 other commands. Exception C, gardens. Yeah. A lord in a friendly city or fortress may forage to add provender automatically, even if the locale is ravaged and he is besieged. This is not a friendly city or fortress. So, no, the gardens do not apply. Which means I can't forage. Now, supply, and that's my own fault for having ravaged that, but I didn't choose that. That was the scenario. His seat is way up here. There's no way I'm going to get supply from that. So I have to get Alfonso down to Alvar to get any value on that. So let's look at that as my possibility. So the first thing I want to do is I kind of want to increase my food supplies with everyone. So, see, Pedro will be laden if he takes another provender. Each of these will be laden. So they can each take 1 more provender than they have. Wait, not Sancho. Garcia and Pedro can each take 1 more provender than they have, but they got a problem. If they take 2 more, they're laden, and it costs too many. It costs 2 commands to move each space. So I want to get a lot closer before I summon my food. So let's think about Alfonso. What's his situation? He has 2 provender. He could carry 1 more. So I'm going to make him my top card. I can do a supply run. He's right next to 2 of his things. I could actually grab a couple. But again, that makes me laden. So that's no good. With 3, I can reach down to 1, 2 to here. And still gain supplies. Of course, from a friendly forage, I can add 1 anyway. And this is friendly, so no problem there anyway. So what do I want to do? Well, I want to put a card there. I want to probably grab 1 food and move 3, but I may move 4 and not grab the food. And then what? Well, this is going to cost me 2 to move over anyway, because I just don't have enough mules to carry all my goods. So I want to grab food for each of them. So Pedro, remember, Alfonso is the marshal. He can move everyone. So Pedro and Garcia each want to play a card to forage. And now I've moved them all down. I've grabbed a food for each of these. I want more food though. So right now, each of these can grab 2 food. They have 2 leadership. I'm going to put Alfonso in next. He's going to want to grab food as well. Now he can grab 3 here. He's actually got room for more than that, but that's okay. Then, after I forage up as much as I can, I want to move down here 2, 3. That leaves me an extra command. I could forage another point if I need to. So there's another Alfonso. Right? I'm doing these in reverse order. This is going to be the top of the deck. I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards at this point. Alfonso is going to want a siege. Now Alvar could do the siege instead at this point. This is an interesting question, but I've got this battering ram. That's useful. The Balestros are also useful. Having the lead guy have those if I do storm the city, but I don't think I can storm the city easily in this turn. I'm going to use my final card with a Sancho card because Sancho can tax and grab another coin. Okay, maybe not the best thing. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. My deck is complete. Oh, you can see I'm not going to go run through this kind of full exposition. You know, it's no fun, right? I'll give the highlights of what I built and what the plans are. But let's do Almoravid. Now, Almoravid is a different situation. His command cards, he has 1, 2, 3. That's it. He's not a marshal, so he doesn't get more. How much in danger am I? I don't think I'm very much in danger. So my other 4 cards are not going to be those. Although if I put them in, it would be fine. But simply for the sake of argument, I'm going to put 4 passes in there. If I put lords who don't exist, you know, whatever. They're passes anyway. So what is the order that I want to do? Well, I think I actually want to do one of him first. I can collect taxes or something along those lines, figure out what I'm doing after that. But then I want to pass for the next 4 and put this in play. And so I've set up my deck for Almoravid. Awesome. Yeah, this is a lot easier when I don't have like 4 different Arab lords there. Okay. Oh, let's take a look at the Christians then. So I think that's what we're on. Let's check this, make sure. Campaign, plan, command. Now we exchange the activations. Yeah. All right. So we flip the first one. And we get an Alfonso. Now what did we plan on doing with Alfonso? We were going to move. And we gather the force. 1, I wasn't counting the fact that I've got to eat after this. 2, 3, 4. I want my movement there. Everybody's got to feed. Alfonso has to feed 2. Pedro 1. Yeah, this is going to be harder. And Garcia 1. This may cause me some issues. We'll see. Technically, I would have put one of these markers on each of them if things were more complicated and I thought I might forget. I don't really care. Okay. over to the Arabs. I get Almoravid. Now, what does he have? He has Hashim and these monks. The monks help protect his realm. Kind of useless. And the Hasham are only if I fight. I am going to do the tax action. Or do I want to do a forage action? Tax uses my entire card, which is somewhat problematic. I'm in gardens. Even if I'm sieged or something, I'm fine. So I'm going to do a tax. Get myself a coin. Figure out what I'm doing later. Back to the Christians. We get Pedro. Now, Pedro's not going to move and fight. He's going to use both his actions to forage. I'm in a friendly area, so that's no problem. I might have other options there. He's 2 away. Instead, I could have done a supply action, but that would only, each supply action would still only get me 1 food. Fair enough. We go back to Almoravid, and things are not going to be exciting. Garcia, same thing. 2 actions here. I'm going to grab 2 food. Now, Garcia is probably not within range of his feeding location, so he had to do forage. But it's okay. Forage is only a roll. No, wait. I have to roll. Fuck. Okay, Pedro was fine. Hold on. Garcia may not be. Ooh, this is going to be tight, man. I'm not going to succeed. Pedro is going... Well, we'll fuck up. Forage in a friendly stronghold adds 1 provender. For foraging anywhere else, a roll to 1 to 3. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 of them, but I'll roll them 1 at a time. Okay, so I only get 1 provender with him. This is going to be provender-matic. All right, we go back. I got to be careful. Sometimes I find myself running out of Christian cards and having extra Muslim cards. And not sure why. Another pass. I mean, here it would actually make sense. 3rd card is Alfonso. Alfonso definitely needs to grab food here. He is got 4. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I may be screwing up. Wouldn't be shocking. Because I think I can share on a supply. Yes, I could share the supply. So let's see. Garcia might have been able to reach his place because he has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I was able to actually do a supply action and grab that extra provender. All these wagons work for all the lords. It's kind of like a huge bonus for a marshal. And we probably saw that in Nevsky as well. All right, we're back to Alfonso. So right now, these are both loaded up, but I could hold 3 more provender in each one, since I'm going to be going over this with a cart anyway, right? Am I mistaken? Could be. Let's look at movement, but I think you're allowed to carry the whole amount, and that's Levy. Expect movement to be command march. Laden. March where any lord involved is laden requires and expends 2. March adjacent takes 2 actions if laden to move to an additional. Where the fuck is laden defined? Fuck. Thought Laden was here. Oh, here, Laden. Provender and loot can hinder march. To move along the way, you must have enough transport to carry your provender or discard the excess. Each cart or mule can carry 1 or 2. If you're using a mule or cart to carry 2, or any over a pass, you're laden. So I can carry 2 over the passes and be laden. Such is life. Fair enough. Okay. So what does Alfonso want to do? Well, Alfonso has 3, 6, 9. He's got 2 seats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can hit both my seats. It'll be nice when I get 3 seats. So each of my actions can produce 2 provender, which means I can produce up to 8. Now, I probably don't want to move this phase, but what happens if I produce 8? Is that an issue? 6, yeah, I can carry 8. So I produce 8 provender. I can only carry 6 myself, but the other 2, this guy has 3 spaces, this guy has 3 spaces. So we're filled, we're not even full. Alfonso's done. We get another pass. We hit over here to the command again, and it's Alfonso again. All right, we're about as full up on food as we can get. Not quite. We can't attack Talavera, but we don't have to bypass it or anything. So what I'm going to do is move. This costs me 2 because I'm laden. This costs me 2 because I'm laden to get here. I've moved and fought with that set, which means, let me mark all of them. Alvar has not, but I'm going to just throw this on these 3. I want to take a look at this. I have just moved into an area with siege. Stop at march at unbesieged or unbypassed stronghold. Let's see what this is. Whenever a side has a lord on the outside that's not already besieged or action, yeah. So I think I'd join the siege for free. I would anyway, but I could conceivably have done other things on the way, but there's really nothing I can do on the way. The land is ravaged already. So now I feed, and that's 2 food for him, 2 food for him. Have to pay it. I can't eat the mules or anything like that. And 2 food for him. How much food do we have left? 6, 7, 8. And we use up 6. He uses an extra 1. We got like 1 turn action. However, we have tons and tons of carts. So on further actions, it would be possible for me to trace back and get supply with some of these leaders, especially Pedro here, but he only gets 1 per. What would be nice is Alfonso, but how much do I have? I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite enough. I need another mule or cart. It's too bad I didn't figure this all out ahead of time. But, honestly, I think optimizing that kind of thing and figuring out what your levy needs to be and everything, that's at a higher level than I can play right now. All right. Almutamar passes again. And here we're flipping over another Alfonso. I peek at my other card to make sure what I got. That's right. Okay. I'm going to siege. Oh, this is gone after I fed. But I'm going to siege. Everybody has to eat. Painful. And now I roll 3 dice. I have a capacity to re-roll 1 of those dice. And I have to get all 1s or 2s. No, I have to get all 1s to succeed. Well, I didn't. I could re-roll this, but it's not going to help. But boy, that's close. Okay. Now we eat again. That's 2. And now we got problems. He's back 1. He's back 1. He's back 1. I have to eat 3 more food. Alfonso's willing to supply that. And if we look at siege, Afterwards, we have enough besieging lord capacity to add another siege marker. Things are close. If I had another card, let's say I had put Alvar on there, I might have stormed the city. Storming the city would be possible. It has a fair amount of troops, and I would only be able to fight for 2 rounds. Oh, wait, I did succeed. You count the ravaged in. I ignored that. Okay, it's fine that I fed. I may take some of that food back. I have just captured the city, and no, I'm not going to get any loot. So this is awesome. Wow, this is better than last time. They just walked up and they surrendered. Okay, so I remove all siege markers at the stronghold. This one didn't get placed. We did already feed, but I'm going to leave that there because it is additional confusion, right? Place or remove conquered or jihad markers there. All right, so this is a 3-point city, which means we're going to get 3 conquered markers here in Toledo, which gets us 1, 2, 3 victory points. And these jihads go away. They're worth 3 times half is 1.5, 1.5 victory points. Okay. The land is ravaged. We flip this over. The Christians lose half a victory point for that. The Muslims gain half a victory point for that, because now it's in their hands. I find it kind of annoying that the jihad markers are the same color. They look so similar to the ravaged that it looks like there's a jihad here. There isn't. Okay, things got more exciting. There's not going to be any spoils. The siege works are removed. However, we just conquered the Taifa of Toledo. There's only one target location there. So we go to Taifa politics, and we just conquered it, which means we get a Reconquista marker there. I look for that. Oh, it's on the back of this. All right, we had 1 point. That's changing to 3. So we get 2 more victory points. Last time I played, my little trial run or whatever, the Muslims were doing stuff. So the points were actually pretty close. Here, because Almoravid didn't get anybody to support him, and he's held off all his cards, he really hasn't done anything. Okay. We keep going. Adjusting status. That. Taifa politics sheet. Let's take a look at that. Over here. Yeah. All right. So let's see how this works. Good God. Adjust status. Parias to Reconquista. Flip all yellow ravaged markers in the Taifa to green. Because this turns over as well. So that's another half point that switches hands. Yeah, because I control that. We wouldn't switch the ones that are in jihad areas, which looks a little weird. Muslim lords at neutral strongholds that would go Christian at jihad. There aren't any Muslim lords there. I could have run up and joined an area to ensure that I keep it. Okay. I don't know. I don't feel like this tells me everything I need at all. Changing, flip all yellow ravage in the Taifa to green. Wherever, if to independent, flip to yellow. Yeah. Okay. Hostage populace. That's what we're looking at there. Not changing to pariahs. Remove the siege or besiege markers there. Oh, by the way, somebody pointed out to me that there were some changes made to the game, and I looked at them. They're for balance. I fucked up. I didn't write them down. I should have brought the rule book up and penciled them in or whatever. There's some pretty major ones, like this battering ram isn't in Alfonso's hands. I'm a little disturbed by it because I feel like he kind of needs things like that, and I don't know. I mean, he could muster it, but then he can't muster as much stuff. But it could well be the game is. The common wisdom is that the game is currently the game that I'm playing right now is currently unbalanced in favor of the Christians, and I'm okay with that. Because if the Muslims win, then I can say, "Wow, okay." Jihad. Changes in Taifa status, call to arms, and Muslim cards can place jihad markers at strongholds. A single stronghold. Add jihad only in Reconquista. Yeah. I think we got any we would have. Muslim conquest of a stronghold in Parias replaces 3-1 jihad markers. Christian conquest of any stronghold with jihad markers removes all jihad there in addition to placing Christian conquered. Strongholds with jihad markers are Muslim territory regardless of Taifa status. Each jihad marker adds a half victory point. Open gates. Changing from independent to prize. That's when the coin happens. Yeah, this was already a prize. So we've just conquered this. Now, if I had the cathedrals, I would be able to make this into my seat. But I didn't take that. I will be allowed to. I did already feed, so I'm not going to worry about that. I was holding on to that in case there was loot or something. That's the end of Alfonso's action. He has succeeded in conquering Toledo. However, there are still 1, 2, 3 strongholds that are controlled with jihad markers. Let's go back to Almoravid. He gets another action. What the hell do I want to do? I already have 2 carts and whatnot. The question is, do I want to go anywhere and do anything? I think I just want to sit on my seat. So I'm going to take another coin. We go back here. We hit Sancho. Doesn't have much he wants to do. I was planning on taxing. That's what I'll do. Again, I've got 2 resources already in those 2 mules. I might as well. I did have plans of trying to siege or something, but it just... First of all, I'm not allowed to. This is Parias. Okay, and finally we go to the last Almoravid, and I'm going to grab a 3rd coin. So, a lot happened. It doesn't look like it. There's not a lot of engagement, but this is a really big thing. Really big. Okay. And it happened so easily, right? We didn't really worry about some of this stuff here. So we fed. Had the markers moved down, we might have wanted to pay or been forced to disband units, but we didn't worry about it at all. After revealing all command cards on both sides of the plan stacks, we end. We didn't end the game. It's not a grow and harvest marker space. Repairs, if there were any siege markers on the board, they might get removed, but there aren't. And then we hit wastage. The Christians have to select and discard any one asset or this lord capability from each of their mustered lords who has more than one of any type of asset or of such cards. So let's look over here. Provender's easier to get than anything else. I'm going to throw a Provender away. A little iffy on it, but okay. Moving over here, this lord. I don't like mules. I'm going to kill a mule. Again, if I killed a cart, I would have one of each. That would be safe next turn. But I think I'm going to need more transport. And if I'm going to get rid of something, I'm going to get rid of the mule. It doesn't hurt me in the supply actions if I do that. But I really want to get a cathedral there. That's for sure. That puts me over here. Same thing. I'm going to get rid of a mule. Food is coins are too valuable. Nobody's able to generate coins down here, so I don't want to lose them. I already took care of him if I was going to. We hit over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's take a look. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. He's still feed 2. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. He's still feed 2. But if I eat the mule here, I go down to feed 1. Now, you can make an argument that that's not wise, that I'd be better off getting rid of the provender because it's a lot easier for me to get that. And you know what? I'm going to buy that argument, actually. I'm going to keep that mule. Had it been an earlier point, had this had to disappear at a different point, it might have been a difference. But I may rally these forces. I'm at a friendly stronghold. I can muster next turn and try to do more. Right now, I own most of Toledo. And the question is now, what do I do? Right? Well, that's going to be affected by other things. We go over here, and he's got 2 of different things. Takes a mule to get across here. I don't know if mules are all that valuable for me. How do I feel? I feel like the worst thing I have is these monks. I'm not really worried about the Christians ravaging Seville at this point. I will put this face up, so I mean I gotta reshuffle both of them. Now we prepare for the next 40 days. We unstack any lieutenants. There aren't any. The Christians and the Muslims discard any Arts of War cards desired to their deck. If I had something I didn't want, that I wanted to show up as a... This is available now, and I'll be able to get rid of some jihads with that. This happens during the levy, though. If I had something that I wish I was able to throw in my deck, like let's say I want a baggage parapet. What the hell? May play in any battle to cancel a camp attack. Yeah, that's nice. But so are javelins, and you know I've sort of paid for this already. Battering ram I really like, so I don't want to get rid of that. There's a camp attack. Again, might be useful, but it's not the kind of thing that I absolutely have to throw back in the deck. More interesting would be throwing this away. But the capability is useless, so I might as well hold this. If I manage to get any lords, I can extend them further. Let me get that back under the card. Okay, and what I was going to do is I'm going to move these up to here and these up to here. It just indicates to me, hey, you know, I'm at that stage. I don't want to sort them back in, especially since, you know, right now these are the guy. That's the only guy I have. So like having them easily available makes sense. I can sort them back in as needed. And this pushes over to Levy. Move these dice because they don't mean anything. These guys all stay back here. That's not a problem. What is a problem is this guy. Not yet, but during the levy phase, if I don't pay him off somehow, he's going to, and I can pay him off in addition to Sancho. Basically, I pay Sancho off and it moves both of them off. If I don't pay him off, though, he's going to disband, which is somewhat problematic. If you don't feed people, they get miserable with you. But if you give them money instead of food, they're kind of happy. They're like, yeah, it's okay that we're starving, but at least we got a pocket full of jingle jangles. Whatever. All right, where are we? So that is the end of a complete calendar turn. You can see there's 16 of these, well, 14 of these potentially. These guys aren't available to play. And 2 of them are winter turns. So it's not a huge game. Right? Now, this was an exceedingly light turn in the sense that, like, you know, one person got to do stuff and the other person basically didn't. And only really one stack did anything at all. And it was all pre-planned and everything. I may have been mistaken about what my planning implied, but yeah, I mean, the game is all about pre-planning and programming your deck. I'm going to send this one up, even though it's fairly short, because I think it really shows a lot of the features of play. And I'm not really necessarily, things are so weak here, I'm not really expecting there to be a battle next turn. There might be, because, there are places to siege and whatnot.